Have you ever woken up at exactly 3 a.m. in the morning, eyes wide open, wondering why your body chose that hour to break your sleep? If this has happened to you more than once, you're not alone. In fact, many older adults report waking up at the same time night after night, right around 3 a.m., often with no clear reason. You may chalk it up to aging, stress, or maybe just too much water before bed. But what if there's more to it than that? What if your body, your mind, and even your spirit are trying to tell you something? Let's face it, as we get older, sleep changes. That deep, uninterrupted 8 hours we used to enjoy starts to feel like a luxury. Maybe it's your bladder calling, maybe it's an aching hip, or maybe your mind just won't stop racing. But that specific hour, 3 a.m., keeps popping up again and again for many seniors, and the pattern is too common to ignore. Could it be something deeper? Take Richard, 71, from Asheville, North Carolina. He told me he started waking up at 3 a.m. shortly after he retired. At first he thought it was because he no longer had the routine of a job to tire him out. But even on days when he was active, relaxed, and had no caffeine, he'd still find himself sitting up in bed, staring at the clock that read 3 a.m. What made it stranger was that he didn't feel anxious, just awake, and often with a heavy thought or memory on his mind. As we age, our circadian rhythms naturally shift. That means the body starts to feel sleepy earlier in the evening and may wake up earlier in the morning. Melatonin production decreases, and we become more sensitive to noise, temperature changes, and even subtle internal discomforts. So yes, there are biological reasons why sleep becomes more fragmented after 60. But what if those early morning awakenings are also connected to something beyond the physical? Let's talk about emotions for a moment. Grief, regret, unspoken words, they all seem to visit us at night, don't they? When the house is quiet and the world is asleep, our thoughts grow louder. For many older adults, 3 a.m. is when the mind finally gets a chance to speak its truth. Maybe it's something you've pushed down for decades. Maybe it's a memory that resurfaces when your guard is down. These emotional awakenings are just as real as the physical ones. And then there's something else. A whisper from the world. We can't see but sometimes feel. In many spiritual traditions around the world, 3 a.m. is considered the hour when the veil between this world and the next is at its thinnest. Some say it's when our ancestors visit us, or when our spirit guides try to communicate. Others believe it's a moment of spiritual awakening, a calling to pay attention to something greater than ourselves. In Eastern practices, this hour is often tied to the lungs and grief in traditional Chinese medicine. In mystical Christian teachings, it's known as the divine hour when prayers are most powerful. Mary, 75, from Sedona, Arizona, began waking up at 3 a.m. after the loss of her sister. She said she would often feel a presence in the room, not in a scary way, but as if someone she loved was sitting beside her. It was peaceful, she told me, almost like my sister was checking in on me. Whether you believe in spirits or not, many people share experiences like Mary's, where these awakenings feel meaningful, even sacred. Let's take a moment here to pause. Have you ever had an experience like that? Have you felt like your 3 a.m. wake-up wasn't just about sleep, but about something deeper, something emotional or even spiritual? If that resonates with you, leave a comment and share your story. Your voice matters, and you're not alone in this. Of course, it's not always mystical. Sometimes it's just your body talking to you. Dehydration, blood sugar drops, or even a late dinner can throw off your system. Sleep apnea and restless leg syndrome become more common as we age, and medications for things like blood pressure, cholesterol, or arthritis can also mess with your sleep cycles. So yes, there are practical things to consider. But what makes this hour, this 3 a.m. moment, so unique is how it blends the physical, emotional, and spiritual into one silent conversation between you and the night. And sometimes, the most important thing you can do in that moment isn't to try and fall back asleep right away. It's to listen, to breathe, to ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Because often that's when the real healing begins. Let's keep going. Have you ever noticed how your mind seems sharper in the stillness of early morning? As if something is nudging you awake, not just your bladder or an ache in your hip, but something deeper, something you can't quite name? Waking up at 3 a.m. isn't just a nuisance. For many older adults, it's become a recurring mystery. And if you found yourself staring at the ceiling night after night, wondering, why now? You're far from alone. Here's the thing. The way we sleep changes as we age. Our internal clocks, what doctors call the circadian rhythm, start to shift. The body produces less melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate sleep. As a result, we tend to get sleepy earlier in the evening and wake up earlier in the morning. That's normal. But waking up precisely around 3 a.m., that's what gets people curious. Some experts suggest it's a matter of sleep cycles. You see, a full sleep cycle lasts about 90 minutes, and we go through multiple cycles each night. If your sleep becomes lighter around 3 a.m., even a small noise, a change in temperature, or a racing thought could wake you. For seniors, lighter sleep is common, and that means it's easier for little things to nudge you awake. But what if it's not just about biology? Let's talk about something many people don't like to admit: the emotional weight we carry. Aging brings a quiet kind of grief, not always loud or dramatic, but subtle and steady. The loss of friends, the memories of a spouse, the anxiety about health or finances. These thoughts often wait until the world is silent before they speak. And at 3 a.m., when the house is dark and still, they have your full attention. Paul, 74, from Rochester, New York, shared this with me once. He said, "I kept waking up at 3 a.m. and just lying there, thinking about my wife. She passed 3 years ago. It's like the night misses her too." Sometimes the body wakes because the heart is heavy, and that's something no sleep aid can fix. Now, let's dive into something even more fascinating and a little mystical. In many spiritual traditions, the time between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. is known as the spiritual hour, or the hour of awakening. Some call it the divine hour. It's believed to be the time when the veil between the physical world and the spiritual realm is thinnest. In other words, it's when intuition is strongest, when messages from beyond, from ancestors, or guardian angels might reach you more easily. Some elders report waking up at this hour with vivid dreams, or the feeling that someone is watching over them. Not in a frightening way, but as if they're being guided. Whether you believe in spirituality or not, it's hard to ignore the emotional weight this hour can carry. Dolores, 78, from Portland, Oregon, told me something beautiful. "I wake up at 3:10 every morning. I used to be annoyed, but then I started praying. Now I see it as my quiet time, just me and God." For her, that early hour became sacred, not stressful. This isn't about converting anyone or making claims. It's about honoring the fact that for many, spirituality is a source of strength. If waking at 3 a.m. leads you to journal, meditate, pray, or simply sit in peace, then maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's an invitation. But let's not forget the other side of the coin. Chronic 3 a.m. waking could also signal an underlying issue. Medical conditions like sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, or even depression and anxiety often disrupt sleep patterns. If you're waking up every night feeling panicked, with your heart racing or thoughts spiraling, it's worth talking to your doctor. Sleep isn't just a luxury, it's a cornerstone of your health. And then, there's the practical side. What are you doing in the hours before bed? Caffeine after dinner, heavy meals, or even scrolling your phone in bed can all interfere with deep sleep. One small change, like turning off screens an hour before bed, can make a big difference. Let's pause here for just a moment. If this video is resonating with you so far, could you do something simple for me? Tap the like button and let me know in the comments. Have you been waking up around 3 a.m. too? And how do you feel in those moments? Your voice helps others feel less alone, and this community is built on connection. Now let's keep going. 1. Surprising culprit behind middle-of-the-night wake-ups is blood sugar. As we age, our bodies handle glucose differently. A dip in blood sugar during sleep can trigger the body to release adrenaline and cortisol, stress hormones, as a way of waking you up and getting your system going again. It's your body's version of an alarm clock, and unfortunately, it doesn't wait until morning. That's why a light, protein-rich snack an hour before bed can sometimes help. A handful of almonds, a slice of turkey, or a boiled egg might keep your blood sugar more stable overnight. Of course, check with your doctor, especially if you have diabetes or other health conditions. But don't underestimate how food and sleep are connected. And finally, loneliness. It's a quiet, heavy feeling that tends to grow in the night. During the day, we're busy, even if it's just with small things, but at 3 a.m. the silence can feel overwhelming. If you're living alone, or missing someone, or just feeling disconnected from the world, that can wake you up just as fast as any physical symptom. But there's hope here too, because connection doesn't just come from being surrounded by people, it comes from feeling heard, from knowing your story matters. From spaces like this one, where we can talk about the hard stuff, share what keeps us up at night, and, maybe, little by little, rest easier knowing we're not alone. So, we've talked about the physical changes, the emotional weight, and even the spiritual meaning behind waking at 3 a.m. But there's something else, something deeper, that we need to talk about now, and that's the power of acceptance. Sometimes, the more we fight the 3 a.m. wake-up, the harder it gets to fall back asleep. We toss, we turn, we count the hours until sunrise. We worry about being tired the next day. But what if, instead of resisting it, we leaned into it? What if we asked ourselves, why am I awake right now? And simply listened? There's something powerful that happens when we stop seeing our bodies as broken and start seeing them as messengers. Maybe 3 a.m. is when your body says, you haven't slowed down all day and I need your attention now. Maybe it's your soul whispering, there's something you haven't processed yet. Let's sit with it for a moment. Harold, 81, from San Francisco, told me something that stuck with me. He said, I used to get angry every time I woke up at 3 a.m. Then one night I just sat in my chair and listened to the quiet. I thought about my life, my wife who passed, the choices I made. I cried a little. But it helped. I stopped fighting the night and I started healing. You see, the night has a way of stripping things down to the truth. No distractions, no noise, just you and your thoughts. And while that can be hard, it can also be healing. If you find yourself awake and restless, try something gentle. Sit up, light a candle, sip a warm cup of tea, write in a notebook, whisper a prayer, play soft music. Breathe deeply. These aren't tricks to fall asleep. They're ways to make peace with being awake. And remember what we said earlier, some spiritual traditions believe that 3 a.m. is when the soul is most open to divine guidance. That doesn't mean you need to have a religious routine. It just means you're not alone. There's wisdom in the darkness. And sometimes, in that quiet hour, the answers you've been seeking all day finally rise to the surface. But let's be honest, not all 3 a.m. awakenings feel profound or spiritual. Some just feel frustrating, and that's okay too. There are still practical things you can try. Establish a bedtime routine, keep your room cool and dark, avoid alcohol or heavy meals at night, and go to bed and wake up at the same time each day. These small habits send your brain a message. It's time to rest. And if after 20 minutes you're still tossing and turning, sleep specialists recommend getting out of bed. Go to another room. Do something quiet. Let your body relax again naturally. Don't associate your bed with stress. But above all, don't blame yourself. Don't call your body old or broken. Your body has carried you through decades, through joys and losses, through births and deaths. It's not failing you. It's just speaking a new language now, one that takes a little more patience to understand. You've made it through sleepless nights before. You've raised children, worked double shifts, sat in hospital waiting rooms, waited for calls. That never came. You've survived heartache, heartbreak, and maybe even heartbreaks you never told anyone about. So if you're waking up at 3 a.m., it's not a failure. It's a reminder. You're still here. You're still alive. You still matter. And now, I want to ask you something personal. Have you been waking up at 3 a.m. lately? And if so, what do you do in those moments? Do you get up and write? Do you pray? Do you cry? Or do you just sit in silence, waiting for sleep to return? I'd love to hear about it in the comments, because your story could help someone else feel less alone tonight. If this video brought you comfort or clarity, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to this channel. We're building a place where older voices are not only heard, but valued, where your experience matters, where your wisdom leads, where your heart is safe. Let's end this video with one more thought, one that's carried me through my own restless nights. You don't have to understand everything your body is doing to trust that it's trying to take care of you. You don't have to fight every change. Sometimes rest comes not from sleeping through the night, but from making peace with being awake. Here's to stillness. Here's to softness. Here's to 3 a.m., not as a curse, but as a quiet companion, a gentle invitation to pause, reflect, and just be. You are not alone. You are not broken, and you are never too old to find peace again, even in the middle of the night.